What was going on in Cuba at the time that you were there?
What do you mean what was going on?
Like, what was this?
You gotta ask me when did I leave Cuba?
No, bro. Like, what was the social status?
Oh, the communism.
Okay, elaborate.
When Fidel came to the government in 1959, everything was going bad, and then we left Cuba in 1970 because we had all properties, the houses, and everything we had, it was taken out by the government. So we decided to leave the country and we left to Spain in 1970.
Wow, what'd you do in Spain?
Well, I finished my high school in Spain. I graduated from bachelor. I didn't do high school. I finished my bachelor in science in Spain. And then I came to the States in 1974 when I started Miami-Dade. I did 2 years in Miami-Dade here, and then I did 2 years at FIU where I did my bachelor's in science. And then I went to medical school.
Where?
At Dominican Republic, to Universidad Central del Este, where I studied 4 years there after I did my bachelor's degree. And I became a doctor. I came to the States, back to the States, and then I did my training in pediatrics. I moved back to New York, where I lived for 4 years.
Okay. Next question. Before Abuelita and everything, did they always live in Cuba or did they move from somewhere else?
No, we all live in Cuba. I was born in Cuba.
Before you, like...
They live in Cuba.
Before that?
Before when?
They didn't come from anywhere else? Not from Spain, nowhere else?
My grandfather.
Okay.
The father of my father came from Spain a long time ago. He came from Spain to Cuba. He married my grandma, and he became Cuban.
Wow.
After that. But mostly everybody was born in Cuba.
Your grandfather moved from Spain?
Back at that time, I guess in Spain, things were not good. They had a lot of things. They have like cows and they have a lot of animals in the farm, but then they emigrate to Cuba. In Spain, they like to emigrate to Cuba because there was a time that they couldn't have it anymore, so he went to Cuba. I don't know much about that. I wasn't even born, but that's how it happened. And then he lived in Cuba all his life, where we had everything, like I told you. My mother is a pharmacist. We had a pharmacy. My grandfather was a pharmacist. He had a pharmacy. And then when Fidel came, everything was gone. He took everything.
So they owned pharmacies?
They owned my family owned pharmacies.
Does Abuelita still happen to have business cards from her?
No. When Fidel came, the pharmacy was taken away. And so my grandfather, his pharmacy was taken away as well.
That's unfortunate.
So that's why we immigrate, because of political reasons.
Why did you choose to come to the United States of America?
Because our family was here in the United States, even though we had a very good time in Spain. But in Spain, the situation was not too good, where my parents had to work, both of them, and even though we had to receive some money from the family here in the United States because it was not enough. But we had a good time back at that time. I graduated there. My brother graduated from school too, and even though we were not rich or anything, and we were working people, but we did good back in that age when Franco was alive.
Okay. Where in the United States did your family live?
In New York. They used to live in New York. They used to live in Chicago. We actually didn't have anybody close by in Miami. And then when we lived in Spain, we went directly to New York, where my aunt lived. But my parents didn't like New York. So we stayed in New York only like 2 months, and then we emigrated to Florida.
Why Florida?
Because at that time, my uncle had a contract here in Florida with a very good company that they own sugar canes. So he came, he's an accountant, so he came to that company to work as one of the executives. Since my aunt moved here and we didn't know anybody else in New York, we moved to Florida. They lived in West Palm Beach, and we decided to come to Miami because there were some friends that my parents have in Miami. And here we started a new life. My mom started to study, and she became a pharmacist in the United States. My father got a job in a sugar cane that was in a place here in Florida named Pahokee. It's like 2 hours from Miami. He used to work there, and come to Miami. And my mom became a pharmacist, a registered pharmacist, and started working up at Medellin Hospital, where she worked for 40 years.
Wow.
And from there, we studied, like I told you, Miami-Dade, and then I went to FIU.
Okay.
My brother studied
Okay.
his high school,
We know.
and then we went to medical school.
Wow. Okay. Bye.